pouvez consulter le...
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. live English news edition, the top stories. Opening of the conference on accomplishment of 20 in 2020. The international news, European Union officially launches its vaccination campaign. Hello, welcome again. Welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. Somaliland's President Mr. Musa Bihi Abdi, accompanied by a high-level delegation, visited the free zones this morning. They were welcomed by the head of the Port and Free Zones authorities, Mr. Abubakar Omar Hadi, and his associates. Somaliland's President Musa Bihi attended lunch with the delegation accompanying him as Somaliland's Foreign Minister. The Minister of Agriculture and Livestock, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Awale, and many other personalities also attended to this event. It should be noted that the President of Somalia came to Djibouti for a working visit. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Margele, will inaugurate tomorrow a new structure in the Republic of Djibouti. It is the premises of the National Library and the National Archives located near to site of the parade of 27 June in Torabora, Balbala. A structure, the first of its kind in Djibouti, which is entirely financed by the Chinese government within the framework of the Sino-Djiboutian cooperation. The construction work for a National Library and Archives was launched by the President of the Republic on 23rd April 2017 in an event to be organized by the Ministry of Culture. The two buildings housing the Library and National Archives will be built on the same 30,000 cubic meters plot of land. The National Library will have a capacity of 500,000 books or documents. The building housing the National Archives will have a storage capacity for about 3,000 cubic meters, usable for 50 years. The premises, which will be the flagship of contemporary culture of the Republic of Djibouti, according to the President of the Republic, at the launching of the works at the sites of the Chinese cooperation officials. A structure that will serve to promote reading, allowing Djiboutian children to cultivate and better develop themselves. As for the National Archives, they will represent the historical, social, and political memory of Djibouti. This structure will enable the pursuit of the development strategy based on capital and will create job opportunities for Djiboutian youth. Numerous officials will participate in this inauguration ceremony of the Library and National Archives, where the national cultural heritage will be preserved. This morning at the National Assembly, the fifth plenary session and the second ordinary session of the National Assembly was held under the chairmanship of the President of the National Assembly, Mr. Mohammed Ali Ahmed. His Excellency the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, also participated in this session along with the deputies and members of the Parliament. It was on the agenda of this session to debate many legal projects, including a bill to ratify the protocols amending the Chicago Convention on International Civil Aviation, and a bill to ratify the convention to finance the road rehabilitation project linking Djibouti and Gaddafi. Concerning the exchanges, the audience engaged and consequent debate illustrated by the various interventions of the parliamentarians towards the executive and the insights provided by the members of the government in response. At the end of the debates, with input from the ministers, the President of the National Assembly closed the plenary session by remanding the committees to process their text as soon as possible. Under the chairmanship of the Honorable Abdurrahman Awali Yassin, the Foreign Affairs Commission met on Sunday, 27th December 2020. This session, which was attended by members and non-members of Parliament, was held in the presence of the Ministry of Equipment and Transport, Mr. Musa Mohammed, and the Ministry of Economy and Finance, Mr. Ilyas Musa Adawale, with the insights of their close collaborators, and the focus of discussion concerned the examination of draft laws. Following the exchanges between the parliamentarians and the members of the government, the Foreign Affairs Committee approved the transmission in public session of the corpus and the examination, including in the beforehand corrective measures to make up for the shortfall. Under the leadership of His Excellency the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, MENFOP organized this morning a conference entitled Focus on Achievements since the State General Education of 2000. Members of the government, senior officials, and many distinguished guests took part in the event, which took place at the Kempinski Palace in Djibouti. The conference was attended by Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, members of the government and parliamentarians, ambassadors, and representatives of diplomatic missions, as well as MENFOP officials. Within the framework of the ongoing commemoration of the 20th anniversary of the foundation of the Djiboutian School, the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training is taking the initiative to organize a conference on the achievements of MENFOP, where it will be a question of targeting within the framework of panels, themes and problems relating to the assessment of the achievement of MENFOP since the State General of 1999 and the reform of the education system of year 2000. This event aims at analyzing the assessment carried out and extending around the questions inherent to the education policy of MENFOP and its future prospect, but also at contributing the reflection with an audience of 300 people familiar with the question and issues raised. This work will also aim at mobilizing and federating the different national actors as well as the social and financial partners around our school and our ambitious and visionary educational policy. Now, the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, gave an important speech at the opening of the forum to put into context the choice of this day to review the past 20 years. Let's listen to him.
Au début, je veux vous remercier toutes et tous pour avoir répondu positivement à notre invitation.
From the outset, I want to thank you all for responding positively to our invitation. My thanks to the Prime Minister for agreeing to sponsor this meeting and finding the time to honor him with his presence. My deep gratitude also goes to all those involved in the school: parents, teachers, head teachers, educational advisors, inspectors, not forgetting the representatives of civil society who have freed themselves from their obligations this morning to take the time to stop for a day, to take stock. And as in any stock-taking situation, it is therefore a moment to distance ourselves, to question ourselves and to observe how far we have come over the last 2 decades. Yes, already 20 years, and to become aware of our success, but also of our failures, our limits, the obstacles encountered, and the solutions adopted. The projects are numerous and complex, and we want to stay. Certainly, we want to move quickly, but above all, we want to do well, because education does not forgive, and bad education and education of inferior quality, always a language of truth is necessary. The moment must be a moment of sharing, exchange, discussion, and questioning. It must be serene without being afterwards, prepared, frank, without being virulent, and above all, without being pedantic. The expectations of our fellow citizens, their demands are great. We will therefore have to rise to the occasion. The event that brings us together today is a moment of consecration and commemoration, with all that this word entails in terms of realities, but also of joys and celebrations.
The intervention of the Prime Minister, His Excellency Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, reiterated the government's commitment to ensure effective and efficient education and training for the children of the Republic. Let's listen to his details.
D'abord, je suis très honoré d'avoir été sollicité pour parrainer une telle rencontre.
At first glance, I am very honored to have been asked to sponsor such a meeting. Happy and honored because it is about education from the Djiboutian school, about our children's school, about our future. The attachment of the President of the Republic to this issue of education has always been unwavering and constant. Since the holding of the States General on Education in 1999, the government has respected its commitments and made available to its departments the maximum of available resources, and it continues to do so today. Ladies and gentlemen, the States General on Education undeniably represents a revolutionary turning point of our country. It evokes a key moment in our history, a key moment because it is the moment when we built our school from our perspectives, from the vision of the future we wanted for ourselves, and from the aspirations of the rich and diverse cultures that make up our social fabric. We needed a school that resembled us, that defined us to be fully ourselves, but also that transfigured us and carried us towards the best of us, to build a more inclusive and equitable school for us, that it would leave it at the door. No citizen should take charge of those who live with fewer resources, fewer skills, and give anyone an equal chance to learn and succeed for 2 decades. And this is the time to pause for analyze, to catch our breath, and to re-engage ourselves even more strongly, even more resolutely, and even more demanding with ourselves, in order to achieve the goals we have set to ourselves.
The work of the session organized by the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training made it possible to assess the achievement of the ministry and to exchange the experiences gained over the last 2 decades among all local experts in the field of education. The opening session, held under the auspices of the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, and the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, provided an opportunity to present the political vision, discuss the results of the public debate held in recent period, and discuss how to deal with the difficulties encountered by the education system. Discussion in this session focused on the importance of achieving transformation, quality teaching and learning, information and communication technologies, and the development of vocational training.
caafimaadka yaa u dadaala dadweynaha yaa daryeela yaa u daacado daweeya yaa la deeqoona daryeelay la deeqayna daryeelay cid kale ku qarsan mayno.
The Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training concluded his speech on the government's role in developing and building an orbit to receive the largest number of students. Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces, received in his office at the General Staff of the Armed Forces at 10 o'clock the new military attaché in Djibouti of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Colonel Abdullah bin Shar al-Khabi, for his first contact visit with the military authorities. During the meeting, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim recalled the excellent cooperation relations between the two armies through the training of the military and stressed his readiness to work harder to consolidate these fraternal ties. For his part, Colonel Abdullah bin Shar said he was honored by the warm welcome extended to him during his stay in Djibouti. In addition, Colonel Abdullah bin Shar stressed that the Republic of Djibouti and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia maintain fraternal and historical relations based on military training and exchange of information. The Saudi diplomat pledged to work further to strengthen, consolidate, and expand these cooperative ties. The courteous visit ended with the exchange of gifts and the traditional family photo. Also on the same day, Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the General Armed Forces, received in his office at the General Armed Forces this morning at 9 o'clock the new Indian ambassador recently accredited to Djibouti, Mr. Ashok Kumar. This courteous visit is part of his contact with the authorities of the country. Welcomed at the military general staff by Colonel Wagdi Jama, Chief of Corps of the Headquarters Regiment and Chief of Protocol of the Army, Mr. Ashok Kumar went to the office of the General of the Army. First of all, extended its warm congratulations to the Indian diplomats on his accreditation to Djibouti and welcomed him and wished him a pleasant stay in the Republic of Djibouti, a land of meeting and exchanges. For his part, the new Indian ambassador, Mr. Ashok Kumar, said he was honored by the warm welcome extended to him and informed the general of his determination to raise the partnership between Djibouti and India higher and pledged to work further to strengthen, consolidate, and expand this cooperation tie. The general thanked the Indian ambassador for his effort to further strengthen bilateral cooperation, welcoming him to long-standing relations and partnership between the two countries. The general informed the Indian diplomat his willingness to diversify it, particularly in the military field. The courteous visit ended with the exchange of gifts and the traditional family photo. Now, the alliance of Hayable Association, headed by the young Mohammed Elmi Farah, decided to dedicate this day to honor the National Gendarmerie to show their gratitude and solidarity with the gendarmes for all efforts made during this year marked by the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic. About 30 of the young inhabitants of Hayable made the trip to the PK-12 North Brigade in order to allow these gendarmes mobilized for their security day and night to know that a proud and grateful nation stands behind them. Words of gratitude and satisfaction for the work accomplished were quoted to the gendarmes before saluting them and urging them to continue to serve and protect this beautiful country. At the end, the president of the Alliance of Association, Hayable, invited the gendarmes to a breakfast followed by moments of fraternity. The traditional family photo closed the session. For his part, the official in charge present of the ceremony said he was pleasantly surprised by the holding of this day, which marks a first for him in his gendarmes. He did not fail to reiterate the constant and faithful commitment of the gendarmerie to serve his fellow man as it has always done in the past. In his speech, the president of the Alliance of Association of Hayable invited the youth of Djibouti to follow his example and let all men and women in uniform know that the work they do for this nation is appreciated and encouraged by everyone. The Department of Social Project of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs, Culture and Waqf Property, in coordination with the Shamikhat Network and in close collaboration with the United Nations Fund for Population Activities, yesterday organized a training workshop for women educators entitled The Sharia Position on Female Genital Mutilation in the Art of Communication. The launching ceremony of this session took place this morning at the Sheraton Hotel in the presence of the Director of Administration and Finance of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs, Mrs. Ikram Ige, and a representative of the United Nations Population Fund, Mrs. Safran, as well as a group of women leaders in the fields of religion. The event was moderated by Sheikh Abdurrahman Shamsuddin and Wadah Abdullah. In a word for this occasion, the representative of United Nations Population Fund, Mrs. Sofran, expressed her deep thanks and gratitude to the participants of this training workshop. For her part, the Director of Administrative Financial Affairs of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs, Mrs. Ikram Ege Osman, in a brief intervention, stressed the importance of this workshop in building the capacity knowledge of women religious leaders. After the East Africa Bank on December 18, Djibouti Telecom has just signed several conventions on partnership agreements with many institutions of the private sector concerning the new electronic wallet D-Money or Djibouti Digital Money. Indeed, Djibouti Telecom is constantly promoting its flagship project, the D-Money e-wallet, in phase with the digital transformation which is fully discussed. These partnership actions took place yesterday at the end of the afternoon in the Bawadi Mall with several shops and another bank in the area, the CAG International Bank. It should be noted that Djibouti Telecom signed a partnership agreement with the CAG International Bank on October 12, 2020, a partnership that will undoubtedly facilitate the company's progress toward the digitalization of its services and that has already been implemented at CAG Bank. CAG International Bank thus joins Djibouti Telecom's partners in this new challenge, the implementation of electronic wallets. As a reminder, this agreement aims at the interconnection between the D-Money platform and CAG International Bank and will enable its customer to recharge their electronic money account from their bank account and those without a bank account to acquire electronic money to recharge their D-Money account in the bank's branches. CAG International Bank is a pioneer bank in financial digitization and has naturally confirmed its interest in this win-win partnership. Moving on to international news, as I mentioned on the titles, after the United States, the United Kingdom and Canada, it is the turn of the European Union to officially launch its vaccination campaign against COVID-19. Hungary took the lead this Saturday by vaccinating hospital medical staff in front of the cameras. Tens of dozens of vaccines are being sent from the Pfizer factory in Perouse, Belgium, to the various European Union member states. 9 months after the start of the pandemic, this vaccination campaign allows Europe to finally see the end of the tunnel, reacted the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. On the epidemic front, the figures are still worrying, especially in the United Kingdom, where in the last few days there have been between 30,000 and 40,000 new cases of infection every day. This is it of the edition of 9 p.m. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful afternoon.